GOP is repeating what the New York Times calls a new and misleading talking point, that Democrats are shutting down the government to fund free health care for unauthorized immigrants. The false assertion, has been repeated by Vice President J.D. Vance and Speaker Mike Johnson, along with the president himself. Here's what is important to note. Undocumented immigrants have long been prohibited from taxpayer-funded Medicaid coverage, except for treatment in emergency medical situations. They also do not qualify for Medicaid and Medicare. The fight on Capitol Hill is over reimbursements that allow hospitals to recoup the costs of emergency care in certain cases. The president's massive spending bill had limited those federal dollars, which is what Republicans are looking to keep in place. As CNBC reports, Democrats say they are only trying to restore health care coverage options that were available to some immigrants before those options were eliminated by President Trump's so-called One Big Beautiful tax bill this year. Steve Ratner, can you add to that and talk about the economic impact of this shutdown?
Yeah, Mika, this is completely misleading on the part of the Republicans. And interestingly, this provision's been around for 4 years, and I don't recall anybody talking about how there was waste, fraud, and abuse. That's the Republican favorite talking point, of course. When they want to attack a program, they say it's all waste, fraud, and abuse. This is just subsidies for normal health care for normal Americans who are further down in the economic ladder to make health care affordable when they buy it on the ACA exchanges. That is the core of the fight. The Democrats have asked for some other stuff, but obviously there's a negotiation, and probably most of that won't happen. This is at the core of it. Essentially, let me just step back and put this also in perspective. In the first term, Trump talked all the time about overturning Obamacare, repealing Obamacare, and then famously John McCain voted against it. It stayed in place. You have not heard the Republicans talk about repealing Obamacare for a long time, but that is what they are doing. In the One Big Beautiful bill, there are a bunch of changes in Medicaid, and then you have this provision that
Go ahead, keep going.
Then there was this provision that did not get expired, and when you add it all up, all the stuff they've done in the One Big Beautiful bill plus this would reduce the number of Americans who got health care under Obamacare by 70%. It would effectively unwind 70% of Obamacare in this very stealth way without ever saying that's what they're doing.
And is this also the cuts that some of them come after the midterms?
Yes, the Medicaid cuts. So
people don't feel them until after the midterms.
The Medicaid cuts come after the midterms. But for something like 20 million Americans who are buying their insurance through the exchanges, which is what this fight is about, when you go out and buy in exchanges, you're going to feel it right away. The health insurance companies have already filed their premiums for next year, and the average premium increase will be 18% because of this expiration of this provision. So even the ones who still don't get subsidies, still buy in the exchanges, are going to see much higher premiums right away, not after the midterms.
And we should underline again, Brez, there's a federal law that says people here without legal status cannot get taxpayer money for health care under Medicaid, Medicare, or the ACA. It's against federal law, and Democrats say they have no plans to change that. They don't know where this made-up talking point is coming from. But let's talk about Leader Schumer and the bind he kind of finds himself in. A lot of pressure from his left over the last several years that he gives in too easily to Republicans. What is his position this morning?
I mean, there were, as Thune and Schumer talked about, there were a couple of votes yesterday in the Senate. He lost 3 Democrats, Senate Democrats. They voted, including John Fetterman was one of them, and he lost Angus King, and he lost Catherine Cortez Matasza from Nevada. So he lost that. The thought is, if the Republicans just keep pressuring the moderate Democrats, they'll eventually get them to yield. Schumer, he's not up till 2028. He's been leader for 8 years now. He's, as you noted, there was a lot of people upset with him for March. That Hakeem Jeffries and the House Democrats, and even Patty Murray, is top Senate appropriator, Democratic appropriator, wanted to vote against the funding bill in March, have this fight in March. Schumer postponed it till later in the year. Part of the thing that doesn't get talked about is how Democrats coming in the year thinking there were some pressure points they could get on. Government funding was one of them. The debt limit was another. But surprisingly, Trump leaned on all the Republicans, and even the House Freedom Caucus, even the conservatives voted to increase the debt limit. These guys had never voted for it. So they lost that pressure point. This is one of the pressure points that he has as government funding, and he has to keep them together. It's a difficult spot he's in. Democrats traditionally don't like shutdowns, and Republicans have been using that against them. And now they're having to vote in a way that causes a shutdown. So this is a tough spot for Schumer. Yeah. As you guys noted, the left, the progressives, really want this fight right now. This is a huge issue, and they want this fight right now.
Coming